Hi everyone! I hope you had a lovely weekend and I hope you're all okay. We're really missing you at school. It really isn't the same without you there. But we've got another week of Destination Reader and reading the BFG together, so that's making me feel really happy. I'm so excited about keeping on reading the BFG. It's such a great book. It's so exciting. I hope you're enjoying it too. I'm really looking forward to finding out what happens with Sophie and the BFG, our main characters. Right, just like last week, there are going to be some keywords for you written in red. These are really important words that will help you with your learning. There's also going to be some questions for you to answer in blue. And you're going to have some writing time, which will be in green. Okay, are you ready to go this Monday morning? I want you to check to see if you've got your copy of the story, your strategy prompt sheet, a pen or a pencil, and a piece of paper or your home learning book. Have you got all of those things ready to go? Great. If you don't, press pause now, go and collect everything, then press play when you're ready. Press pause now. Excellent. The BFG by Roald Dahl. Okay, so we're going to be having a new strategy this week. Strategy number 3, my favourite, inference. Right, I want us to have a little think about what inference means. Okay, have a little think, say your answer out loud, and then make a note of it on your paper. Then press play when you're ready to begin. What does inference mean? Why do good readers make inferences? Press pause now. Great, you're back. And I wonder how many of you knew what an inference was. Inference means to read between the lines. If you are making an inference, you are looking for clues in the text to help you understand more. Authors sometimes leave key information out so that the reader wants to keep reading and find more out. And you might have said that to get your inference, you use the text clues and your schema, your background knowledge, you add them together to come up with an inference. And if you've done that, brilliant. Great. Okay. We haven't read our story for a few days now, so we need to remind ourselves what has happened so far. What have Sophie and the BFG been up to? I want you to press pause and have a little think, then say it out loud or tell someone in your family. What's happened in the story so far? Then press play once you have finished. Press pause now. Well done, everybody. You're absolutely right. The BFG has taken Sophie from the orphanage to his cave in Giant Country. We've learned that the BFG stands for Big Friendly Giant. And so far, we've learned that he's really been very kind to Sophie, and he's told Sophie that he doesn't eat humans, unlike the other horrible giants. What did you think? Was your idea similar to mine? Okay, let's carry on reading and find out what happens. But before we do, we've got some vocabulary that we're going to have a look at now to help us as we are reading. So our first word, my turn, hullabaloo, your turn. My turn, hullabaloo, your turn. What a great word. You've really got to say it with excitement. Hullabaloo. I hope you said it like that too. And a hullabaloo is a lot of noise or fuss made by people because they are excited or angry. Maybe if your family are getting really excited at some stage, you could say to them all, What is this? Hullabaloo! And I think they'd quite like it. Hullabaloo. Word number 2, runt. My turn, runt. Your turn. My turn, runt. Your turn. And a runt is a member of an animal group which is smaller and weaker than the rest. Often when a mother pig has a lot of babies, one of the babies will be smaller and weaker than the rest. This is called the runt. Runt. My turn, motionless. Your turn. My turn, motionless. Your turn. Motionless. It means it's not moving, it's absolutely still. And can you see that suffix at the end, less? It means that if there's no motion, there's no movement. Motionless. My turn, guzzling. Your turn. My turn, guzzling. Your turn. Guzzling. If someone is guzzling something, they're eating or drinking something really greedily. Guzzling. Okay, so this week we are going to be learning about 1 mark and 2 mark answers. Now I know we've already been doing this in class, so you're going to be really good at it. When we're doing our learning, we're going to look really closely at how many marks each question has, because this will tell you what kind of answer to give. So let's do a recap. I'm going to do some crocodile snappy hands. 1 mark questions need a short, snappy answer. Your turn. 1 mark questions need a short, snappy answer. Altogether, 1 mark questions need a short, snappy answer. Now I want you to say that out loud to yourself. Go. Well done, everyone. Fantastic. So, an example of a 1 mark question. Which 2 characters have we met in the story of the BFG so far? So it's 1 mark. It needs to be a short, snappy answer. So, which 2 characters have we met? I would like you to say your answer out loud. Great. And here we have our short, snappy answer. Which 2 characters have we met in the story of the BFG so far? And my short, snappy answer is the BFG and Sophie. Okay, so 2 mark questions. Right, so we are going to be looking also at 2 mark questions, and just like we do at school, 2 mark questions need a PE answer, and we're going to say it like this. 2 mark questions need a PE answer, and when I say PE, I'm punching the air. When I say it, I'm going PE and I'm punching the air. I want you to do that too. Practice with me PE now. PE, we're punching the air. Let's do it together. 2 mark questions need a PE answer. 2 mark questions need a PE answer. 2 mark questions need a PE answer. Fantastic. I really wish I could see you doing that. Okay, so here is an example question for you. How does the reader know that the giant hasn't learned English properly? And this is a 2 mark question, so it needs a PE answer. Okay, I would like you to say your answer out loud, and then I'd like you to write it down. So press pause now, say your answer out loud, write it down, and then press play to start again. Press pause now. Great. Okay, so let's have a look at my answer. Now, I know that it is a PE answer, so I need to have point and evidence. So my question was, how does the reader know that the giant hasn't learned English properly? And I am going to say, I think the reader knows that the giant hasn't learned English properly because his speech is jumbled up and he pronounces words incorrectly. That is my point. Now, I'm going to give an example for my evidence. And I said, he says things like human beings instead of human beings. And me gobble up human beings, this I never. That's not how we speak in English. So that is how we know that he hasn't learned to speak English properly. Okay, so we're going to begin reading. Get your books out. We're going to go to page number 23, The Giants. I want you to have a think about what you think this chapter might be about. The Giants. I will read along and you will follow. We will stop at points to ask questions. We're going to be answering inference questions. Okay, so the giants. Are you ready? Get your fingers ready and off we will go. But if you are so nice and friendly, Sophie said, then why did you snatch me from my bed and run away with me? Because you saw me, the big friendly giant answered. If anyone is seeing a giant, he or she must be taken away hip-switch. Why? Asked Sophie. Well, first of all, said the BFG, human beings is not really believing in giants, is they? Human beings is not thinking we exist. I do, Sophie said. Ah, but that is only because you have seen me, cried the BFG. I cannot possibly allow anyone, even little girls, to be seeing me and staying at home. The first thing you would be doing, you would be scuttling around, yodeling the news that you were actually seeing a giant. And then a great giant hunt, a mighty giant look-see, would be starting up all over the world, with the human beings all rummaging for great giant you saw and getting wildly excited. People would be coming rushing and bushing after me with goodness knows what, and they would be catching me and locking me into a cage to be stared at. They would be putting me into the zoo or the bumpkin house with all those squidgely hippo dumplings and crocodile jellies. Okay, so we are going to stop there. I've got a question for you. Why do giants take humans that see them? Now, notice that this is a 1-mark question. 1-mark questions need a short, snappy answer. What I want you to do is I want you to say your answer out loud. Make a note of it in your books or paper. Press play when you have finished. Press pause now. Fantastic. Let's have a look at my answer. I've said giants take humans that see them because they don't want people to know they exist and are real. Okay, well done if you got it correct. Give yourself a little tick on your page, or if you didn't get it correct, you can always fix it. So press pause if you need to fix your answer. Let's carry on. Sophie knew that what the giant said was true. If any person reported actually having seen a giant hunting the streets of a town at night, there would most certainly be a terrific hullabaloo across the world. I will bet you, the BFG went on, that you would have been splashing the news all over the wonky world. Wouldn't you, if I had wiggled you away? I suppose I would, Sophie said. And that would never do, said the BFG. So what will happen to me now? Sophie asked. If you do go back, and you will be telling the world, said the BFG, most likely on the tally bumpkin box and the radio squeaker. So you will just have to be staying here with me for the rest of your life. Oh no, cried Sophie. Oh yes, said the BFG, but I'm warning you not to ever go whiffling out of this cave without I is with you, or you'll be coming to an ucky-mucky end. I is showing you now who is going to eat you up if there's ever catching even one tiny little glimpse of you. And we're going to stop there, and you can have a look at the picture and see all of the other giants in Giant Country wandering around. So we're going to stop, and I've got another question for you. My question is, why would Sophie meet a mucky end if she left the cave? Now this is a 2-mark question, so remind ourselves, 2-mark questions need a PE answer, point and evidence. What I want you to do is to have a little think to yourself about the answer, and then I'd like you to say it out loud and then write it down. Press pause now. Fantastic. Let's have a look at my answer. Why would Sophie meet a mucky end if she left the cave? 2 marks. I think Sophie would meet a mucky end if she left the cave, because if the other giants saw her, they would eat her. That's my point. Here's my evidence. I think this because the giant says, I is showing you now who is going to eat you up. And in the previous chapter, the giant tells Sophie what humans taste like. So yes, I think he's worried that the other giants are going to eat her. What did you think? Did you get that right? You can either give yourself a little tick or pause the video and fix it if you need to. Let's carry on. The big friendly giant picked Sophie off the table and carried her to the cave entrance. He rolled the huge stone to one side and said, Peep out over there, little girl, and tell me what you is seeing. Sophie, sitting on the BFG's hand, peeped out of the cave. The sun was up now and shining fiery hot over the great yellow wasteland with its blue rocks and dead trees. Is you seeing them? The BFG asked. Sophie, squinting through the glare of sun, saw several tremendous tall figures moving among the rocks about 500 yards away. 3 or 4 others were sitting quite motionless on the rocks themselves. This is Giant Country, said the BFG said. Those is all the giants, every one. It was a brain-boggling sight. The giants were all naked except for a sort of short skirt around their waists, and their skins were burnt brown by the sun. But it was the sheer size of each one of them that boggled Sophie's brain most of all. They were simply colossal, far taller and wider than the big friendly giant upon whose hand she was now sitting. And oh, how ugly they were! Many of them had large bellies. All of them had long arms and big feet. They were too far away for their faces to be seen clearly, and perhaps that was a good thing. What on earth are they doing? Sophie asked. Nothing, said the BFG. They is just moochling and foochling around and waiting for the night to come. Then they will all be galloping off to places where people is living to find their suppers. You mean to Turkey? Sophie said. Bone-crunching giant will be galloping to Turkey, of course, said the BFG. But the others will be whiffling off to all sorts of flung-away places like Wellington for the booty flavour and Panama for the hatty taste. Every giant is having his own favourite hunting ground. Do they ever go to England? Sophie asked. Often, said the BFG. They say the English is tasting ever so wonderfully of cod scallop. I'm not quite sure I know what that means. Sophie said, Meanings is not important, said the BFG. I cannot be right all the time. Quite often I is left instead of right. And are all those beastly giants over there really going off again tonight to eat people? Sophie asked. All of them is guzzling human beings every night, the BFG answered. All of them excepting me. That is why you will be coming to an ucky-mucky end if any of them should ever be getting his gogglers upon you. You would be swallowed up like a piece of frumpkin pie, all in one dollop. But eating people is horrible, Sophie cried. It's frightful. Why doesn't someone stop them? And who, please, is going to be stopping them? Asked the BFG. Couldn't you? Said Sophie. Never in a pig's whistle, cried the BFG. All of those man-eating giants is enormous and very fierce. They is all at least 2 times my wideness and double my royal highness. Twice as high as you, cried Sophie. Easily that, said the BFG. You is seeing them in the distance because just wait till you get them close up. Those giants is all at least 50 feet tall, with huge muscles and cockles alive, I is the titchy one. I is the runt. 24 feet is puddle nuts in giant country. Great, and we're going to stop there. I've got another question to ask. Why doesn't the BFG stop the other giants from eating humans? And this question has got 2 marks. So we need to have a 2-mark PE answer. Let's sing it together. 2-mark questions need a PE answer. 2-mark questions need a PE answer. Okay, I want you to say your answer out loud. Then make a note of your ideas on a piece of paper in your home learning book and press play when you are ready to begin. Press pause now. Fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at what I wrote. Why doesn't the BFG stop the other giants from eating humans? And I've written, I think the BFG doesn't stop the giants from eating other humans because he is frightened of them. That's my point. Here is my evidence. I think this because the giant says the other giants are enormous and fierce, and he tells Sophie that he is the runt. And we know that from our vocabulary page. This means he's smaller and weaker than the rest. Yes, that's my answer. How did you go? Did you get it right? If you did, give yourself a little tick. And if you didn't, pause the video so that you can fix it. Do that now. Okay, off we go. We're going to carry on with question number 4. I'm going to keep reading to you. You mustn't feel bad about it. I was speaking like the giant. It's Sophie speaking. Let me start again. You mustn't feel bad about it, Sophie said. I think you are just great. Why, even your toes must be as big as sausages. Bigger? The BFG said the BFG, looking pleased. They's as big as bumble hammers. How many giants are there out there? Sophie asked. 9 altogether, answered the BFG. That means, said Sophie, that somewhere in the world every single night 9 wretched people get carried away and eaten alive. More, said the BFG. It is all depending, you see, on how big the human beans is. Japanese beans is very small, so a giant will need to gobble up about 6 Japanese before he is feeling full. Others, like the Norway people and the Yankee Doodles, is ever so much bigger, and usually 2 or 3 of those makes a good tacken. But do these disgusting giants go to every single country in the world? Sophie asked. All countries excepting Greece is getting a visited some time or another, the BFG answered. The country which a giant visits is depending on how he is feeling. If it is very warm weather and the giant is feeling hot as a sizzle pan, he will probably go galloping far up to the Frisbee North to get himself an Eskimo or 2 to cool him down. A nice fat Eskimo to a giant is like a lovely ice cream lolly to you. I'll take your word for it, Sophie said. And then again, if it is a frosty night and the giant is friggy with cold, he will probably point his nose towards the sweltering hotlands to guzzle a few Hottentots to warm him up. How perfectly horrible, Sophie said. Nothing hots a cold giant up like a hot Hottentot, said the BFG. And if you were to put me down on the ground and I was to walk among them now, Sophie said, would they really eat me up? Like a whiffswiddle, cried the BFG. And what is more, you is so small they wouldn't even have to chew you. The first one to be seeing you would pick you up in his fingers, and down you'd go like a drop of drain water. Let's go back inside, Sophie said. I hate even watching them. And we're going to stop there, and we're going to have a look at our final question. And this question has got 1 mark. So a 1 mark question has a short, snappy answer. A 1 mark question has a short, snappy answer. I hope you joined in with me then. Okay, here is the question. Why does Sophie want to go back inside? Great, I want you to say your answer out loud, then make a note of your ideas on a piece of paper or in your home learning book. Then press play when you're ready to continue. Press pause now. Excellent. Okay, let's have a look at my answer and see if you got the same as me. Why does Sophie want to go back inside? Sophie doesn't want to look at the giants anymore as they are so horrid. You might have even said Sophie wants to go back inside because she's scared. Any of those answers would be right. Okay, well done, everybody. Tomorrow, we're going to continue reading the BFG and we're going to carry on making inferences. On your piece of paper or your home learning book, you could make a prediction about what you think will happen next in our story. And until tomorrow, have a good rest of your day and look forward to carrying on then. Take care. Bye.